2026 is halfway done, and I've played a ton of great games so far. In this video, I want to give you my favorite JRPGs that I've played in 2026 so far. Now, a lot of the JRPGs that are going to be the best of the year are coming later in the year, in the fall, so be sure to go check out my best upcoming JRPGs list. I'll link that one in the description below. But in this video, I just want to gush about my favorite games that I've played so far this year. If you like videos like this, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. It really helps out. And without wasting any more of your time, let's get into it. Now I'm going to kick things off with Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. Now, if you followed my channel for any amount of time, you probably won't be surprised that I have this on my list because I love Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest has always represented everything I love about JRPGs: comforting towns, memorable music, charming monster designs, and stories that grow into something much bigger than they first appear when you start the game. Dragon Quest VII Reimagined takes one of the series' most ambitious entries and probably one of the series' most misunderstood games and makes it easier to appreciate than ever before. The original was already an enormous game, huge by even Dragon Quest standards. I mean, this game probably ran about 100 hours. Dragon Quest VII Reimagined is a very different game. This game is a bit shorter. It cut out some stuff in the game and basically tried its best to streamline certain mechanics to make this game a much more condensed and concise experience. And I think they succeeded at that in a lot of aspects. There's something just incredibly satisfying about restoring forgotten civilizations and seeing your actions permanently change the world around you. The remake modernizes the experience in all the right ways. Exploration feels great. The presentation is beautiful. I love the art style here, and many of the rough edges that made the original difficult for newcomers have been refined in a way that I really appreciated. Combat, of course, is classic Dragon Quest at its best. Turn-based battles remain easy to understand, offer enough depth through vocations, and even a moonlighting mechanic that allows you to do multiple jobs simultaneously. The equipment, the party customization, everything keeps things really engaging throughout the adventure, and I just loved my time with Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. Next up is probably my most recent game that I played, and that is The Adventures of Elliot. Every now and then a game comes along that reminds you why these smaller games deserve just as much attention as the big blockbuster releases, and I have to give Adventures of Elliot some credit as a new IP trying new things from Square Enix. I'm always someone that is all about new IP over sequels. I like to play new and interesting things, and I think Adventures of Elliot has a lot going for it. Now, I recently did a video on The Adventures of Elliot talking about how much I love the exploration, and I think that's where this game truly shines. I think it understands what makes exploration fun in video games, and throughout my entire playthrough of The Adventures of Elliot, that was my favorite thing to do. I loved exploring, and the soundtrack is so good. Combat also strikes a really nice balance between accessibility and depth. It's easy for newcomers. It has a lot of difficulty options, so those that want easier combat, you can choose the easy mode. If you want something really hard, it even has like an extremely hard difficulty. I love that they do that, and I played on hard and I found it to be the perfect balance, and it was super rewarding, and I loved as you unlocked new weapons just how much variation there was in the gameplay. So I would definitely recommend The Adventures of Elliot. A great game, super fun time. One of my highlights of the year so far. Monster Hunter Stories 3 is another highlight for the year. I love the Monster Hunter games, and I actually really love the Monster Hunter Stories games. Monster Hunter Stories 2 was just a blast through and through, but Monster Hunter Stories 3 is probably one of the biggest leaps in quality and presentation that I've seen from probably any series. This game is a huge step up from Monster Hunter Stories 2. And if you love the aesthetic and the mechanics and the lore of Monster Hunter, then you're going to love Monster Hunter Stories 3. It has all of that in a true JRPG style game. What makes these games so enjoyable is the way they transform monsters that were once these terrifying boss fights into trusted companions. Instead of hunting them for materials, you're raising them, battling alongside them, and slowly building a team that feels uniquely yours. That changes the entire tone of the experience for me. There's a genuine sense of attachment when you've spent hours nurturing a monster that's been with you through dozens of battles. It gives progression a personal feeling that many creature collecting RPGs struggle to capture. Combat remains one of the strongest parts of the game. The familiar power, speed, and technical triangle is easy to understand, but mastering it requires paying attention to enemy behavior and making really smart predictions. Capcom has also done an excellent job here expanding the world. The environments are larger, there's more variety in the monsters you'll encounter, and exploration constantly rewards your curiosity. Even if you've never touched a traditional Monster Hunter game, Stories 3 is an incredibly welcoming entry. You don't need years of experience to enjoy it because it stands perfectly well on its own. One of my favorite surprises this year was probably Starbites. It's definitely a unique game, and from the moment you start exploring this world, there's a sense that you're discovering something fresh and new. The setting mixes science fiction with classic JRPG charm in a way that feels unique, creating a universe that's colorful, mysterious, and full of places that make you want to see what you're going to get into next. Now, I didn't come away from this game thinking it was perfect. It definitely has some downsides to it, but overall, I had a great experience with Starbites. It's got great traditional turn-based combat system that has some unique mechanics that have been taken from some of my favorite JRPGs. And one thing I appreciated was how rewarding it felt to take down some of the bosses. And I also want to shout out the visuals rather than, chasing that photorealism art style. It embraces this colorful art direction that gives the towns and dungeons and characters their own unique identity, and I really appreciated it for that. Next up, I have X Proud Nordics on the Nintendo Switch 2, and I have to shout this one out because I think it is one of the best games to play and release on the Switch 2 this year. It runs at 120 frames per second. It's smooth. It feels great to play, and it looks incredible. This is one of my favorite games on the Switch 2 right now, and I think Proud Nordics is definitely worth picking up. I hadn't played the original X back when it released before, so I was kind of holding off for this Proud Nordics release, and I'm glad I waited and picked this up on the Switch 2. And for me, very few series are as consistently enjoyable as the X series. It doesn't matter whether the game is telling an emotional story or sending you on another crazy adventure, you can almost always count on Falcom to deliver combat that simply feels great to play. And Proud Nordics continues that tradition beautifully. Movement feels very smooth, attacks have real weight behind them, and every battle encourages you to stay aggressive without becoming completely reckless. Dodging at the perfect moment, chaining together skills, and keeping that momentum going makes even regular encounters feel really engaging. Exploration is another highlight here. Every new location encourages a little curiosity, whether that's searching for hidden treasures, completing optional objectives, or simply appreciating how much personality Falcom manages to squeeze into every area. One thing that continues to impress me is how confident this series is in what it wants to be. It doesn't reinvent itself with every new entry. Instead, it keeps refining that formula that's been entertaining for JRPG fans for as long as I can remember. And Proud Nordics feels like another step forward rather than a huge overhaul or even worse, a step backward. If you're someone who enjoys fast-paced action JRPGs but still wants good characters, a memorable story, rewarding exploration, then this is the game for you. Code Vein 2 is next up on the list, and as someone who really liked Code Vein 1, I was really excited to jump in and see what Code Vein 2 had to offer. This is very much a Souls-like JRPG. The biggest improvement over Code Vein 1 is that I would say that it doesn't lean so heavily into trying to be a Souls-like game. It does try to find its own identity, even though I think that it does suffer a little bit from being forced into that Souls-like framework that I think if Code Vein as a series would just become its own thing, it might benefit a lot from it. But overall, I really enjoyed my experience with this game. Combat is still very challenging. It's rarely unfair unless the game is bugging out, but those bugs were few and far between. Every enemy encounter asks you to be very patient, learn attack patterns, make smart use of your abilities, rather than relying on, your quick reactions or becoming too aggressive. When you finally overcome those difficult bosses, it feels very well earned because you understand the fight and you spent a ton of time learning those attack patterns and trying to overcome this boss. It is a ton of fun and it is a very rewarding experience, and it's one that I enjoyed a lot. But one thing I also want to shout out about Code Vein 2 is how flexible character progression is. You're never locked into a single class for dozens of hours. If you want to experiment with the different blood codes and completely change your build, the game actually encourages it. That freedom makes trying new weapons and abilities genuinely exciting instead of feeling like you're kind of throwing away previous progress. The story is also much stronger in Code Vein 2 than in Code Vein 1. I love the characters much, much more. With all that said, Code Vein 2 isn't just for Souls fans either. If you've always been curious about this style of action RPG but wanted something with a stronger emphasis on story and is more akin to JRPGs, then Code Vein 2 is definitely the game for you. Last up, I want to talk about Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition on the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, I know this game has been released quite a few times. It was on the Wii, it was released again on the Nintendo 3DS, and it was released again on the Nintendo Switch, and now it gets a Switch 2 version. But the Switch 2 version is easily the best way to play this game. It looks gorgeous. It runs at 4K 60, it looks great in docked mode and in handheld mode. And if you've never played this game before, this is the time to jump in. They're going to be porting over Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and Xenoblade Chronicles 3 this year to the Nintendo Switch 2. These are the best JRPGs out there. So good. One of the best series, full stop. Xenoblade Chronicles needs to be played by any fan of not just JRPGs, but games in general. So if you have a Switch 2 and you haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles yet, definitely pick it up. I mean, very few JRPGs create a sense of scale quite like this one. You aren't just walking through these large maps, you're exploring the bodies of two ancient titans frozen in battle, and every area constantly reminds you just how tiny your party is compared to the world around them. And the story has aged incredibly well. There are huge twists that happen right from the start and carry on through the whole game, and it gradually evolves into something much bigger without ever losing sight of its characters. This is easily one of the best games out there, and while this isn't a brand new game in 2026, it is a JRPG I played this year on the Switch 2 and one that I recommend highly. Anyway, that's it for me in this one. Those are my favorite JRPGs that I've played this year. I am ecstatic. I'm so excited about what's to come later this year. I mean, we got Trails in the Sky second chapter, we've got Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave, and so much more. So definitely be on the lookout as I cover all those games as they release this year. But if you haven't checked out any of these games so far that have released, definitely be sure to do so before the onslaught in the fall gets going. Let me know in the comments below, have you played any of these games? Which ones were your favorite that have come out this year? I look forward to reading all your thoughts, and until next time, I'm out.
Give it another try. Start.